Hello guys, today I'm going to explain to you the main differences between present perfect and past simple. Remember that this is part of a goal we have in terms of grammar, which is to revise it two topics, simple past and present perfect, by using a concept map. So this is mine, okay? The idea is that you try to create your own in order to make sense of this topic. However, well, I think this is like the main points we're going to have in relation to these two topics, okay? So I have titled my concept map as ways to talk about past events, okay? I decided to do it because I want you to think about the functions, what you can do with these two grammar tenses. So in the first place, I would like to pose this yes/no question. Is the past event related to a specific time in the past? If the answer is yes, you go to the simple past. If the answer is no, you come here to the present perfect. So let's examine what happens with the simple past, okay? It's about a specific, an action with a specific time in the past. So we have an example. I ate an empanada yesterday morning. Yesterday morning is a very specific time expression in the past, so it makes sense in this case. It is a specific experience, okay? On the other hand, we have an example of present perfect like this, with the very same idea. It is, I have eaten empanadas. When? Well, no, in general, in all my life. So it makes sense as a general experience, okay? This is a first aspect that can differentiate the two grammar tenses, okay? Now, second question. Does the past event have an impact on the present? If the answer is yes, you come here to the present perfect. If the answer is no, you go there to the simple past, okay? Let's examine this one first, okay? So we use the present perfect when an action that started in the past has a consequence or an effect now, okay? This is the example. We have been in quarantine, so our classes are virtual now, okay? It means that it is a thing that happened in the past, the quarantine, that has effects now, okay? In relation to the simple past, I have also an example. Maybe some of you have heard or have read in the news about the Spanish flu, which has been, or which was, sorry, a very important and also disastrous pandemic in our life, okay? So we can say that in this case an example is some states were in quarantine because of the Spanish flu. As you can see, Spanish flu doesn't have an effect now. So it just happened there, started there, and finished there in the past, okay? So these are two questions that can help us make sense of the main differences between simple past and the present perfect. In the second part of the video, I'm going to tell you the main structural characteristics of the two grammar tenses, okay? So I'm going to start with the simple past. These asterisks go for deception in simple past, that is the verb to be. Okay, remember that verb to be has a different functioning. It doesn't have the same rules as I have proposed here, okay? This is going to be part of your homework. How does the verb to be function in past? So you will look for that information. In this point, the general structure of the past simple is, in the affirmative case, subject plus verb in past simple and the complement. An example of that is, I taught 3 classes today. So remember that taught, yeah, this one, is the past of the verb teach. So this is an irregular verb. You have to look for the list of irregular verbs in order to know if you have a kind of verb like this or a regular one, okay? So this is the case of affirmative. In negative, it's exactly the same, but we have the auxiliary verb did in negative. The same. I didn't teach 4 classes today. I just taught 3 classes. So notice that in negative you have the auxiliary verb and the verb, the action, we can say that, is in base form. So it's not in simple past. It's not okay to say I didn't taught. No, I didn't teach. Okay? Finally, in questions of the kind just no, we have that the first element to put down there is the auxiliary verb. Then you have the subject, again the verb in base form, and the complement. So, I don't know, a friend of mine could ask me, hey Josue, did you teach 4 classes today? In that case, notice that did and teach have the same relationship as in negative, okay? So in this case my answer is yes I did or no I didn't. That's it. This is the case of the simple past. Now, what about the present perfect? The present perfect has the following structure. In affirmative, we have always the subject, then we have the auxiliary verbs have or has, the verb in past participle, and the complement. So when I say have or has, it's because remember that with pronouns like I, you, we, and they, we use have, and with he, she, and it, we use has, okay? Past participle, remember that is the 3rd column that we can see in the regular verbs list. In the case of regular verbs, it's the same form of the simple past, okay? Let's make sense of that. Imagine that you have the verb dream, whose past is this one, okay? In this case, we can say that the past participle of dream is the same, dreamed, okay? Well, in this case. Now, what happens in the negative? In the negative, it's very similar, the same subject, auxiliary verb, that in this case are in negative, of course, haven't or hasn't, plus verb in past participle and complement, okay? In this case, and a very good example of this is I haven't traveled to China, for example, okay? In this case, sorry, I forgot to mention an example. A very good one could be I have traveled to San Andres, okay? Notice that the 2 cases are different. Finally, in a yes-no question, we put the first thing, the auxiliary verb, then the subject, then the verb in past participle, and finally we have the complement. So, another friend of mine can ask me, hey Josue, have you gone to the moon? My answer is no, I haven't, okay? And so on and so forth, okay? So these guys are the general characteristics of the simple past and the present perfect in terms of structure, okay? I'm going to give you some exercises to practice this, and of course there are some grammar exercises that will be graded in cycle number 2. Please check them in the classroom, okay? Thank you very much. I'll be attentive to your comments and questions. Goodbye.